Hi everyone, I'm Jodi and welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here today. If you are new or recently subscribed, thanks so much for being here and thank you for subscribing. It means a lot and really helps the channel grow. I've been on YouTube just over 15 months and it has been a phenomenal and very fast and a very big learning experience, and you subscribing and showing up and leaving comments really helps me know that I am on the right track and that I'm developing content that you find valuable. So thank you so much for that. All right, today's video I think you'll also find value in, and this is in my best foundations of 2022 in the drugstore edition. Next to drugstore edition, there should be an asterisk that says affordable, great quality, not sacrificing on anything, includes skincare, because drugstore makeup is so much more than drugstore makeup. As I've said in previous videos, the word drugstore is really more of a label to help people know that it's affordable, but it shouldn't have anything negative tied to it, because some of the products I'm going to share with you today not only are very good quality, they last a long time, just like more expensive ones. They also offer skincare, just like more expensive ones. There's good shades available, just like more expensive ones. So the quality is there, and these 5 are in my own personal rotation. Speaking of personal rotation, I love the fact that my channel is growing. I am not a big enough channel at this point to get a lot of free PR. So if I share with you guys a product, please know that I purchased it with my own money, I've reviewed it, I've tested it. If that's ever not the case, you'll see the word gifted in the description box below next to a product if it was given to me in PR, for example. So these foundations stand on their own merit. Again, I paid with them out of my own money. Some of the cosmetics that I purchase myself and I try, I'll give away to my sister, my nieces, my neighbors. And in this case, these 5 have not been given away, and you're gonna see why as we talk through these. So without further ado, if you are ready to look at some good foundation, if you're on the market or you know somebody that's on the market, then we're gonna get started. Now, as we talk about these foundations, I'm going to talk about them not in order of ranking, but we are going to go from the least amount of coverage all the way up to the full glam look. And we'll talk through if it's for oily skin, dry skin, combination skin, so that you know what it's best for. The first one is the L'Oreal True Match Nude Moisturizing Serum. Now, this is a tinted moisturizer. It's a 1-ounce bottle, sells for under $12. Comes in 14 shades, and I have the shade 4-5. Now, this has hyaluronic acid in it. It's best for combination to dry skin because of that hyaluronic acid. It's also ideal for people that want just a little touch of glow to their skin, but they don't want to cover up their skin. Because it's a tinted serum, it is a very sheer coverage. Now, it is somewhat buildable. I don't build this because I have found that if you try to build it too many layers to get more of that medium to full coverage, it just can start to look a little bit cakey. It comes in a droplet eyelid. It leaves your skin with more of a dewy look that's not matte by any stretch. And I'm just gonna put a little bit on here. And again, this is good for people that already have nice skin, that just want a little bit of coverage. I'm just gonna put that right there so you can see how nice and glowy. I mean, that's just the perfect shade for me, actually. You can't even see it. This is an ideal tinted serum for people that have nice skin, have a nice glow to it. They just want to even out their skin tone, but they just want their own skin to show through. That's really what this one is good for. It's very lightweight and wears really well throughout the day. Now, the other thing I love about it is it's very blendable. Once you find your right color, 14 shades I don't love. I do love some of the newer ones that are more up into 30, 40, 50 shades. In fact, House Labs by Lady Gaga has 51 shades, and for a fairly new brand, that's phenomenal. It's a very light coverage. So if you're somebody that just wants to look like you, but a little bit better without the look of makeup, then this is an ideal serum tinted moisturizer for you. You can put this over your moisturizer. You can set it with powder if you want. You could use a primer, but you don't have to. And again, if you tend to get more oily throughout the day, or you think that the hyaluronic acid is making it look a little bit shiny throughout the day, you can always just touch it up with a little bit of dusting of light translucent powder and you'll be good to go. Next up, and this is what I'm wearing today, this is a good everyday foundation. This is the Maybelline Dream Radiant Liquid Foundation. Now, if you have ever tried Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, this is a great dupe. Just like Luminous Silk, this is a medium coverage. It leaves a dewy, radiant type finish, so not matte. It is also very, very buildable. So if you like a step above a tinted moisturizer, but you don't want a full glam makeup look, you just want to even out your skin tone, you want to minimize the looks of your fine lines and wrinkles, and you want a flawless finish to your makeup look that will last all day, then this is the one to try. Of all of these that I show, I was trying to think about if I had to pick one, like the best of the best, I would have to say this is probably it, because I like a more full coverage foundation, which we're going to cover in the last one, but this one can get you there if you build it. This retails for $13.99 for 1 ounce, and it also comes in 14 shades. Some of the reviews, people felt like they could see their fine lines and their pores a little bit more as the day wore on. I have not had that experience, but I use this Master Blur Stick by Maybelline. I recently did a video on this to help cover up these fine lines under my eyes, you guys. It is a blurring stick. I don't go out without this underneath my under eyes anymore, and this has really helped. So I do wear this underneath this foundation, and actually all of them. I put it right around my nose, a little bit on my chin where I tend to have larger pores, and then I will use it underneath my eyes. And this makes a huge difference. So when I pair these together, that could be why I don't see the pores more in my skin with this foundation. But if you do, then this might be a good alternative, and this is $10. So even when you put them together, you're under $26, and this lasts a really long time. It is a dewy type finish. The hyaluronic acid is good for those that have dry skin or combination skin. And I'm gonna put this also on so that you guys can see. I'm gonna put it next to that other one. We're gonna put it right here, just so you can kind of see. That's the wrong color for my arm. But you can see how nicely that goes on and how well that covers any freckles that I have in that area. It's too pink clearly for this underside of my arm, which most of these will be because I don't run around with this part of my arm to the sun. So, but you can see how well that covers. And again, this is just a good everyday foundation. I have it in color 30, which is ivory beige. This is probably my favorite top pick of all of these, but you can't go wrong with any of these foundation formulas. Next, we're gonna go to more of that medium type coverage, and this is NYX Total Control Pro. This is one that many of the pros like to have in their makeup kit because it is so customizable and it blends out really well. You'd need to start in the center of your face and then really blend it out with a damp beauty sponge. Or you could use your fingers. I find that the fingers puts this on a little bit thick in the beginning. I have it in color natural. This is a half of an ounce for $14, and it comes in 29 shades. Now, what I love about this is this is the matte finish in this collection. It's so buildable. The way this was designed, let me get a clean sponge, is you put on 1 drop for sheer, you put on 2 or 3 drops for a more medium coverage, then you put it on, and then you go back, just let it set up, and then you can go back and say, you know what, that's just not quite as much coverage as I want, or that's a good color for me. But you can see how well that covers up sort of the discoloration in my arm, and that was just 3 drops. So then I could go back if I want even more coverage and put a few more drops on. So you really can customize if you want a light makeup day or if you want a full-on glam makeup day, all in one bottle with a matte finish. This can go on like the other ones over a primer. It can go on over moisturizer. You can set it with a powder or a setting spray if you'd like. I prefer not to do that with a matte, just because if you set a matte foundation with powder, it's going to just look that much more dry and can have the tendency to be cakey. So if you do like a matte foundation, you really want to try to not powder if you can help it. If you have glasses, obviously powdering right where your lens are gonna go does help your glasses from sliding or from leaving those imprints under your eye. But other than that, I would try not to set this if you didn't have to. This is a great foundation for those that want to have a little bit more flexibility in their coverage, and for makeup artists to keep in their makeup bag, because you really can customize just how much you need. And you may need a little bit more coverage just underneath the eyes, and then you want more of a sheer coverage everywhere else. And you can absolutely blend this from a heavier look under the eye or more coverage to a more sheer just by blending it with a damp beauty sponge. So I really love this one. It is a little bit more expensive than the others just because the size is not quite an ounce like the rest of these are, but the price is the same as the rest of these. So just know that. But other than that, it is still a very reasonably priced foundation and a very good coverage, a good formula that is buildable and blendable. And again, it's the matte. Next up is the Infallible up to 24-hour fresh wear. This gets us medium to full coverage. It is a satin finish. It's 1 ounce for under $14. I have it in shade 425 and it comes in 30 shades. Now this is best for people that want that makeup look, not quite full glam, that's next, but a good makeup coverage, but you don't want to look made up. This is a really good everyday foundation for people that maybe have some discoloration to their skin. Maybe you've got darker circles, but you don't want to wear a concealer and then a foundation. If you just want a nice glam everyday makeup look, so your own skin sort of glows through but has a nice coverage, then this is a good foundation to reach for. What I love about this one is the coverage and how blendable it is. Your formulas don't always get so blendable the thicker or more full coverage they get. And L'Oreal and Maybelline have really done a phenomenal job in creating a formula that is very blendable, even though it's a thicker or a more full coverage foundation. This is a satin dewy type finish. I reach for this if I just have a few little dark circles under my eyes and I want a glam look. That's where this one comes in. So this is probably used the second most often to that Dream Radiant for me. And I'm just gonna take a clean beauty sponge and I wanna put this one on so you guys can see. You don't need very much at all. And I'm using damp beauty sponge just for purpose of demonstration. I prefer to put my foundation on with a damp beauty sponge unless it's a full coverage. Then I like to put it on with a kabuki brush and really blend it and work it. But the more sheer the formula, then I like to use a damp beauty sponge because I just find that it helps move the product a little bit more and melt into my skin. And the reason I'm putting these on my arm is just to give you a sense of how well they cover and what they cover, because Lord knows I've spent enough time out in the sun that I have plenty of little areas to share how foundation covers. That's a good color match for me. That's 425, and I really enjoy that foundation a lot. Speaking of enjoying things, I don't know about you guys, but my favorite time of the year is fall, as you all know. But I had to really ask myself the other day as I was buying my third bag of candy corn, do I really love fall or do I love it because it's candy corn? And I do have some people that watch this channel. They're phenomenal people at my dentist office, Progressive Dental. Please do not tell the dentist that you heard me say this, that I'm on my third bag of candy corn. I don't know what it is about, I just love it. So is there a time of year where a candy comes out that you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like the Cadbury eggs at Easter? Yeah, we'll talk about that come Easter too. My dentist is gonna kill me. There's always candy canes. There's, I mean, we have so many holidays here in the US, but even if you're in the UK or Canada, is there a treat that comes out at a certain holiday or a certain time of the year that you just cannot wait for? I gotta stop with the candy corn. But you know what? In a couple months it's homemade fudge time, and that's I love my mom's recipe from fudge. Anyway, moving on, we digress. Let's get to the foundation that I chose for my best drugstore foundation of 2022 in the full coverage category. This will be no surprise to many of you. This is one that I reach for a lot, especially if I'm gonna be on camera for a long time because it lasts long wear throughout the day. It's Milani's Concealer Plus Perfect. I call it 2-in-1 because it does say 2-in-1, but it's a 2-in-1 because it is thick enough to be a concealer, but it is also a foundation. You can sheer it out with a damp beauty sponge if you really wanted to. I don't think it looks as good that way. It is just meant to be a full coverage. I typically put this on with a few dots just down my forehead, down to my chin, and then I blend it and work it out from the center out with a kabuki brush because I feel like that really gets it in. Plus it blends it and sort of buffs it and doesn't leave lines on my face. This is a satin finish. It is very full coverage. It's blendable. You just want to use a little bit at a time. Then if you feel like you need a little bit more coverage, you could go back and spot where you feel like you need more coverage because of how thick the formula is, and I'll show you that in a second. It's 1 ounce, it's $11, and it comes in 44 different shades. Now this is ideal for anybody that wants a full glam, full makeup look that needs to last throughout the day, throughout the evening. This can go on over a primer. It can go on over moisturizer. You can set this with a powder. Again, I tend to not like to do that on more mature skin because it can just be very drying. But if you have oily skin, then you can set this again with a light translucent powder like some of the other ones. This is also good for people with hyperpigmentation, or if you get dark circles under your eyes and you haven't found a concealer yet that really covers that the way that you would like to. I would use this with a little bit of moisturizer mixed with this underneath my eyes for a concealer, and then use a little bit of it just around the rest of your face for a full coverage type foundation. It's somewhat versatile. Just know that it is a thicker full coverage foundation, which if you're like me, that's one of the reasons that you love it. Yeah, I mean, you can see how thick that is. It doesn't move and it's not dripping. I don't think I could do that with the other ones. Let's just do that for point of comparison. Now I'm curious. Okay, so here's a great example. There's a little age spot right there, and we are going to cover it. And again, this is color, I have it in color 01A. So we're just gonna blend that. This is also a good dupe for Derma Blend. If you like that Derma Blend and you like to use that full coverage. I mean, look, that is gone. So you could use this for parts of your arms, parts of your legs, if you feel if you got the right color. And if you were gonna use this on other parts of your body, I would just set it with a light translucent powder just so it doesn't transfer. And voila. So now you can see why I love that one so much. But I do wanna see, I'm curious. So I'm gonna put a drop of this one. You can see how thick that is. And I wanna do the Infallible just to see if it's the same thickness. Oh no, it melted right into the, and then this one seems thick too, but I don't think it's as thick. Oh, it might be as thick too. This is the Dream Radiant. So I'm just curious. If we drop that down, oh, the middle one leaks. The Infallible is a thinner formula, which is probably why I like this one so much, is because it wears like a full coverage foundation, but it's blendable because of the consistency of that formula. So there you go. That is my list of my favorite affordable foundations of 2022. And I am working on my favorite foundations of 2022 that are in the luxury price point. And I am really struggling with that darn Dior. That Dior Forever foundation, I had the glowy one, and then the matte came out and it was all over social media that the matte. I'm struggling with that one, trying to be a fan of that Dior Forever matte foundation that just recently came out. So let me know what you guys think. So I don't know if Dior's gonna make the list, but I know what will make the list, and that is that YSL All Hours foundation. And if you guys caught that short that I posted recently, that foundation is hard to find anywhere. It's sold out on their website. It's sold out at Nordstrom. You can barely find shades. There's a few shades available at Bloomingdale's. Sephora is pricing it down to $37. It's a $54 foundation. Talk about holy grail. That is a holy grail foundation that's about to be a holy if they reformulate or change that foundation. We've all had it, right? We've all lost a good makeup product because the company changed it. So we will wait and see. And as soon as I hear anything on that, you guys, I will bring it to you. Tom Ford's gonna make the list. I can tell you that for sure. And yeah, so that'll be coming up shortly. Have a good rest of your day and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.